The intangible part is when you dive into the job, in the career, then you realize there are many more things that are more important.
What's up, Aventis? You are listening to the third season of Aventis Knows. This show is brought to you by Aventis Learning Group, and I'm your host, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲. If you're an individual trying to find your way around the corporate ocean or trying to #up your game with a career, this is where you should be. Today's episode is going to be a bit risky to talk about, but we feel some of you may need a little help. So HRs, don't come at us. Our guest for today is a career coach with a passion for making development changes to groups or individuals. Through the use of assessments, coaching, and feedback, he's committed to developing budding leaders into future leaders. Let's all welcome Mr. Dick Lee. Hi, Dick. We're so excited to hear your perspective on this topic today.
It's my pleasure to share with you.
Personally, I feel this topic is a bit taboo because people would think about like changing their career at some point in their, working life.
Yeah.
So, but they won't openly speak about it. So today, I hope we won't hold back on this topic. Let's dive in, shall we?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
What's your take on career changes in general?
Generally, people change, but I like to recoin the word career change to career transition. And usually, people would move from one career to transit to another. And there's a little difference within job transition, where say you are working, say I'm a nurse, I'm working for a hospital, in this particular hospital, and then I move to another job, similar job, but a different location. So that I will classify as job transition. So I think today we should focus very much on career transition, meaning someone who has done something in a particular job and then moved on to another job, either by force, by will, or by whatever it is. Yeah, I think that's very very important. My own experience is I was working in a telecommunication company for a good 30-40 years, maybe. Yeah, I almost thought that I would never have to write a resume again. But then, unfortunately, I lost my job through various reasons, and then I have to then try to look for another job. And I was then about the early 50s, So in this case, my career transition was a little bit forced. Yeah. I had to move on to something very different, which is learning and development, which encompasses training and now coaching, bringing leadership, bringing managers up to the leadership ladder. Yeah. So I have to transit, but to me, it's a restart in everything, including education, knowledge, and all those things. So it was a big move. But there are some people who I want to just relate. Maybe it's not so related, but I know of a person who got to study overseas and went over to study economics in New York, which is economics in New York, not bad, right? But after some time, she found that economics is not her cup of tea. And then she came back, told her mommy, says that, "Mommy, I'm going to change my studies." And that's year 2. So after year 2, he told her, "Mommy, I'm going to study drama directing." The mommy almost fell off the chair. What? I spent so much money for you to study economics, and you got to a good school, and then now you want to move into drama. But finally, she did. Now, what does that mean? It means to say that in my case, it was a case of force. In her case, not so much career transition, it's more of selecting of career while she was studying. Yeah. So eventually now she's a director of some drama thing.
So it worked out.
It worked out. It worked out very well. Another example I have to share with you is my daughter, my own daughter. My daughter studied took English literature in NTU during her uni days. Went through 4 years, got her second honors degree, second class honors degree. Went to work in the broadcasting field because English literature, news, and all that sounds very right.
Yeah.
But she wasn't satisfied. She finds it boring. She finds it not fulfilling. So what happened was that she went to apply for a course in Australia to do drama, another drama. Yeah, so anyway, she finished the drama. So, and then now she's doing drama in Australia. I mean, doing drama work and a bit of acting, a bit of television commercials and those kind of things. So here again, career transition means moving from one to another. Yeah. So we have to be very clear about that. Yeah.
So what do you think are some of the most common reasons people change careers?
Okay, so again, we say career transitions are people who are already in a career, then suddenly decide to move to another career. I can tell you is that sometimes they just go to the first job because after school, dive into the first job and just go and then try to make the best out of it. But then after, like my daughter, after a while, she or he would find it's not so life for her, it's not so for her. And then they look for a new challenge. As a coach, what we do is we look at what are their aspirations, what are their goals, what are the skill sets, and so on. What it takes to get there. It's like you are here now, you want to go there, fine. How do you get there? What are the steps you need to get there? So as a coach, we do that. So yeah, that's how we will classify them.
So how do we know that we're making a career change for the wrong reasons, and how do we fix that?
That's where you need a coach. No, a lot of times we are distorted by the greener grass of home, better pay. The intangible part is when you dive into the job, in the career, then you realize there are many more things that are more important. Things like the environment, your boss, your career progression to where you want to go, and so on. So there are many things that you have to consider before you dive into a choice of a new career.
But there's a certain intention maybe that can we say is bad for us to change?
No, I don't think it's. I dare not. I think it's taboo to say it's bad. Because any change, if you plan it well, it's good. So it's good. But my caution here is that we need to plan it well. Don't dive into it just because of the money and so on. I give you a very simple case where many years ago I had a guy that works for me, and then he wants to leave, and I told him, "Why do you want to leave me?" "Oh, they pay me $50 more." But those days, $50 are I'm not say a lot, it's quite substantial compared to today. Maybe it's like $200 today, something. And actually, while molding him, I realized that he's still short of skills and knowledge. Attitude is okay. And I told him this, and I give a metaphor to it. I say, if this swimming pool you cannot swim, any swimming pool you will not be able to swim. So in the same light, before you move to your new job, you need to have the skill set. You need to be able to encompass yourself with the skills and knowledge to be able to get to your new job. Otherwise, you will find you struggle in a new job, and then you'll probably straddle back to the old job. That's, you've seen a lot of times people do that.
So it's important that we overcome the challenges that we have right now first before we move take the next
I think you need, overcome is a big word, but I think you need to identify and evaluate the challenges, whether you're ready for it or not. Some may be ready, some may not be. I mean, everything is uncertain, right? You look at COVID today, out of blues, boom. Today, technically, no eating out. So so those are the things that we cannot control. But there are things that we can control. Is like, for example, if I want to move to a position that I'm looking for, then I ask myself, what does it take for me to be there? What skill set? Maybe people management skills. Then I ask myself, do I have it? If I don't have, how do I get it? Of course, as a coach, I always say learning is part of it. And how to find out whether you have it or not. There are psychometric tools around that you can take that will expose this strength and weaknesses that you can, identify whether you have those skills or not. Now, everybody is different. I dare not say you and me are the same. I dare not say there's somebody that's very similar to me, maybe very close, but not exactly the same. And same goes with you and anybody else. Yeah.
So what are some questions we can ask ourselves to ensure that we are taking the right step forward before we change our careers?
I think it's more like in a coach sense, it's more reflective. Is that really what you want? What do you want? Is that really what you want? Do you have it? How do you get it? And until you get to find out whether you have all those things in your bag, then you can start to move. Yeah. There's a saying that I used to say, it's not in any book, but I say it on my own, is that you promote a person, not because he's very good in a position, but you promote him or her because you know that him or her can do the job of a higher position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've seen my own eyes. Many people got promoted. Maybe the bosses make an error, promote them, and then they fall flat on their face, and they find they are so stressed, they cannot cope with whatever it is, and they quit. So instead of grooming a person, you lose a good person, an unpolished person. Yeah. So if in the sense of in this manner, bosses should then identify whether people are ready for their next promotion, so a transition, or even for themselves if they want to move out, career transition to another company, another job, they have to look for themselves. But usually human being, we cannot sensibly think very well on our own. Yeah. Even as us coaches, we need coaches to coach us as well. No? Yeah, because if it's affecting me, I would not be able to think properly. And that's where another coach would then be able to help me through. So we coaches are not experts. We coach others coaches and so on.
So we just learn from each other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we're all aware we're in the middle of a pandemic. So would you say that switching your career during this time is a good idea?
I mean, nobody wanted this pandemic.
Yeah.
So I would say that switching doesn't depend on the pandemic. Okay, so if you like I said, if you are ready for a switch during the pandemic, let's say I know of a person who is gonna go to New York to work from here. I won't mention company again, not very fair to them, right? This person wanted to go out. Her aspiration was to reach there, right? But in the Singapore market, she cannot go there because maybe the boss is there, there's no vacancy there. So let's say I'm a manager and I aspire to be a director. But I have a director above me now in Singapore. And director is very good, of course, right? So, but I aspire to be a director. But I can't go beyond him or her. So the only way to do is to go elsewhere, right? So coincidentally, this person didn't go out of the organization. He went to another place. So in New York, actually.
Oh.
So, yeah. So again, it's during this pandemic. So is it correct or not? I won't say it's correct or not. I don't think the pandemic has any impact on it. Of course, you then have to work differently, like work from home, blah blah blah, all kind of stuff. But the reason to switch or transit in the career should not be hampered by the pandemic. Yeah. On the other hand, pandemic doesn't offer a very good for companies who are doing well. Definitely not the Aventis. Yeah. For companies who are doing well, they have profits, so they may invest a bit of money to mold talent. Okay, so they mold talent, they poach talent, and build them within the organization. Maybe for succession planning, for new businesses, things like that. So in those cases, the companies that can afford will do that. But otherwise, the market is very slump. So why do you want to go during a slump day from one to another? Personally, I don't think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense. Unless, like I say, the reasons I said earlier, unless the company is doing good, they are employing somebody that you like, aspire to be, or an overseas posting. Yeah. Yeah. So pandemic is no issue at all. I mean, even if it's no pandemic, the circumstances stands. Yeah. Yeah.
So as a career coach, I believe you also have to go through, like not just coaching in their career, but you have to like be part a little bit in like being a life coach.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
So putting myself in a shoe of a person who's going through a career switch, right? I'll often overthink, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right step to go forward? So how would you maybe like appease this person?
Personally, this is my own view. I cannot say that all coaches think like this. I think career-wise, career decisions and life decisions, coaches can help. So actually, for me, I don't even consider myself a career coach. I'm just a coach, because I do a lot of things. Yeah. I even coach teenagers. So then if you say career coach, the teenager haven't started working, right? So I don't. So in a way, that's life. So I don't draw a fine line within career and life coaching. Yeah. In fact, I'm certified as a hypnotherapist. So I use hypnotherapy whenever possible or whenever required to create impact on the coaching.
Could you share us more about hypnotherapies?
Okay. So hypnotherapy is actually all about your brain, right? Yeah. So our brain have different parts. So some logical part where the conscious mind will, like if I throw my punch at you, do you know how to duck, the kind of thing? And or the certain part of your brain will somehow make you breathe. Nobody taught you to breathe, right? We all breathe the moment we are born. So that is a part of brain. But there's another part of the subconscious mind that actually holds memories that we don't use anymore. For example, if you fear of, say, lizards when you're young, maybe when you're young, a lizard fell on you, you scream. That thing stays in the subconscious mind, and unless it's been removed, you will always fear the lizard. Yeah. Things like that in a shorter way. So in a coaching, if let's say a person has an obstacle, whether career or life coaching, have an obstacle to clear. May it be fear of people, fear of speaking in public, fear of whatever. Yeah. Sometimes I encompass the hypnotherapy portion into it. So I coin it hypno coaching. Just call it a new name. Yeah. So I believe that would add on. So what it does is it removes the phobias that we have in ourselves. I give you a live example is that for those who drive, I can't say you don't. For those who drive, sometimes when you're very, very, very tired, maybe even walking home, very tired. Let's say you walk through many, many roads, turns and all that before you get home. And then when you're very tired, of course, your mind is sort of switch off, right? But after walking, you realize that you reach home. Then you sit down for a while. I think you experience it. You sit down for,
how did I get
home? I don't remember turning that bus stop, that kind of thing. That's the subconscious mind bringing us home because it's been stored in our memory. Yeah, so I use that a bit whenever possible. Not all the time, but when required. Just
out of topic, because I actually learned this quite some time. I think in my year 1 of poly. So they say, okay, how we develop fears. Okay, for example, I'm afraid of cockroaches.
Yes.
But they said how I developed fear of cockroaches is because when I was younger, I see people freak out over cockroaches.
Either or that. Yeah. So that became a stigma that there's subconscious mind there all the way. Most people don't take away from it. Just say, oh, I fear cockroaches, I fear lizard, I fear of whatever, they just live with it. But actually you can remove that.
You can?
Yeah, you can remove that.
How like, so through hypnotherapy?
Yeah, hypnotherapy. So in short, hypnotherapy, what it does is I will put a person into a trance mode, which is actually half sleep mode. Where the mind is super relaxed. Okay, and it's only during the super relaxed mode where we can make the alteration. Then, for example, I will just tell you that, Maina, tell me about your incidents with cockroaches. Then you may say, oh, at 5-year-old, I saw this. Then I'll say, okay, don't worry, I have cleaned all the cockroaches away. From now on, you will not be afraid. You will not see cockroaches. And if you see cockroaches, you will not be afraid. And that will change your mindset. Yeah. And when you are awake, that means you get out of the trance. Over a few times, not one time, over a few sessions, you will remove that phobia. Yeah.
So most jobs, they require a certain qualification. And if you're making a huge career change from maybe one industry to another industry that is not related to our qualifications, right? What steps do you suggest we take?
I like to generalize qualification in not just academic, because when you talk about qualification, everybody says, academic, I got degree this, I got master here. I would like to add on a few more components, which is skill, knowledge, and attitude. That's why when you go to interview, sometimes they do an aptitude test.
Yeah.
They want to find what's your attitude, how do you see things in different perspectives. And sometimes there are psychometric tools that expose this. Yeah. Of course, not just limited to these three, but I would say that other than qualification, these are the other three main ones. Yeah. And this four main component would generally align to your job's expectation. I give you an example. Let's say a job for a carpenter. You must have a knowledge of a carpenter. You must have, of course, you get a qualification. Maybe you go for a degree in carpentry or whatever. You must have the right attitude to be able to do the job well, because otherwise you just chop, wrong, you throw away, you do again, right? That's wrong. And then you must have the knowledge as well. So all this comes in for you to consider before moving to a new job. Quite often, people just look, okay, I got a master's degree in marketing, therefore I can get this marketing job. But the job may be different. The job may have other components in there where the new employer may want to see. So we need to find out what are the requirements of the new job before we jump into it. Yeah.
So, okay, we just want to address this question by one of our Instagram followers who actually pointed out this question. So how do we handle degree fees when we're changing our careers? Like, is there
degree fees?
Yeah.
In Singapore, the best way is to get a sponsorship. Yeah. I mean, sponsorship by
the company.
Company or institution. In general, will get you a fee waiver in a way.
Yeah.
Aside a sponsorship, the government does through the SSG program fund certain courses. I'm not sure about degree courses, but general courses. For example, now they have the Skill Future Fund, right? We have this $500 Skill Future Fund you can use to learn a lot of things. So some of these programs are sponsored or are recognized for sponsorship. Generally, I don't think the degree programs or higher learning programs are sponsored. In most cases, they are not. Yeah. I can't specifically say unless we pinpoint a particular program. Because let's say if I take a psychology program, maybe MINDEF may want to sponsor because they may need a psychology in the longer term as a talent to work with them. So if that case comes, then just nice. But not on the go. It's not a blanket thing where, you take this course, you can get a sponsorship for this. No, I don't think so. Yeah.
So if you want to take a career switch, which route would you say safe?
Back to what you said earlier about sponsorship. So you must also be able to afford it.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people that, my mother had to borrow a lot of money for my overseas studies, So that's a big hurdle, Even if you want to move to the next career, a lot of people who are really working, they save on their own to fund their own part-time courses. Yeah, but so cost is a big factor. These courses are not cheap. Yeah, so they are quite substantial. So you individually have to, if you really have the goals to achieve the dream of that career, then I think one part of the mission is to secure the finance, It may be ongoing finance. You may get a loan from, say, a family member, and then you pay back over time from your own salary. But it is definitely one part of the consideration.
All right. I think we've covered all questions. Thank you so much, Dave.
My pleasure to share. It's a life story to share.
Hi, thank you for tuning into this episode of Aventis Knows Season 3. We hope this episode will be able to help you scale greater heights in your career. Now, we're just going to end off this episode with a question. For those of you who have made career changes or career switches, what is your experience on it and what can you take away? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Aventis Knows episodes, and we'll catch you next time.